welcome back to another Shared News from Home. We are live today to talk all the latest in Bachelor Nation. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the wonderful Morgan Wright and Zachary Reality. You guys, before we dive into the Bachelor of it all, I just want to check in. How are you, Morgan? What's new?
I mean, nothing's new. I'm good. But this is the highlight of my week, Fiona. We have so much to talk about today. I mean, the Bachelor tea is just like piping hot. So I can't wait to get into it. Zach, what's up with you?
Oh my God. I feel like there's always so much up with me, and we would definitely need like a whole nother live just to talk about it because there's just always crazy things going on with me. But I'm wearing one of my new jumpsuits I got. It's orange to match my hair. So I'm excited to be back with you girls and dish on The Bachelor.
Oh my goodness. Well, we will schedule a separate live for an update on Mr. Zachary's life. Jumpsuit looks fabulous.
Yes, I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
So good. But let's get into the Bachelor of it all because, Morgan, this is the highlight of my week too, and we actually have a lot of really, really exciting stuff today. Starting with a interesting bit of information on Tyler Cameron and Hannah Brown's relationship from way back when that you guys, I think a lot of us have been hoping for more details on for some time now. Tyler's new book, You Deserve Better: What Life Has Taught Me About Love, Relationships, and Becoming Your Best Self. It's quite a long title, you guys. That book is out now. It is part memoir about his life, part how-to guide for dating, and also full of Bachelor tea, which I'm sure you all can imagine. And one of the things he actually addresses in his book, like I said, fans have been dying to know more about, is his infamous drink with Hannah Brown after she asked him out on After the Final Rose. Tyler explained that at the time he was glad to hear from her and was of course happy to see her again, but he says that he did make it clear that he needed some time for himself. He said, quote, "We saw each other in LA where, yes, I slept at Hannah's house, but we didn't sleep together. We weren't in a relationship at that point, and we definitely weren't boyfriend and girlfriend." Now, obviously, everybody lost it when Hannah did her little shooter shot moment on After the Final Rose, and then the internet absolutely freaked out after those photos surfaced of Tyler leaving Hannah's house the next morning after their date. And then, of course, just a few days later, he was photographed in New York City with, of course, a different girl. In his book, Tyler explains he realized how he had made Hannah look, even though they had spoke that very day about the fact that they both deserved to see other people. He wrote, quote, "I put Hannah in a tough position, but that's one thing I feel very, very sorry for. If I could go back and do it all again, I would handle it differently. My communication should have been better." So this is really interesting because I remember when those pictures came out, you guys, and being totally shocked. And then, like we said, just a few days later, being even more shocked and confused and just wondering how Hannah Brown was doing. Morgan, what are your thoughts now that we're getting some backstory here on all of this?
Yeah, I just want to start by saying that I don't think anyone in Bachelor Nation should write a how-to on dating book. Like that, this is not something that I'm going to trust Tyler Cameron of all people to tell me how to date, in my late 20s. It's just not going to happen. I really was rooting for these two, especially, when this all went down on After the Final Rose, but I feel like we very quickly saw, I don't want to say Tyler's true colors because this kind of seems like the true colors, right? Where he said, we did talk about seeing other people, but the audience, the viewers, us watching on page 6 only see the pictures of him leaving Hannah Brown's house and then being spotted with Gigi Hadid like 2 days later. I will say I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And I think that Hannah Brown and her new boyfriend, Adam, are a match made in heaven. I think that he is just the cutest. I think she's the cutest. And I like Adam and Hannah better together than I like Tyler and Hannah together. So I think that it all worked out for the best, but not taking relationship advice from Tyler Cameron. I'm sorry.
I have to say,
Oh
I
my
was
God.
a little bit confused by all of the different categories of this book. Like, even like I said, that title is such a mouthful. He's really doing the most in one book. We'll see if he turns this into a series every 10 years. He comes back with some new advice. Zachary, Morgan kind of touched on this. There are still people to this day that absolutely ship these two. Now, I know Morgan is totally a fan of Hannah's new relationship. I actually really like her new relationship. But let's just imagine here for a second, right? She and Tyler, they're both in happy relationships right now, but down the line, you know, those don't work out and they're finding their way back to each other. Would you be interested in that? Like, do you think that there's enough of a spark between these two that one day maybe it could work?
You know, Fiona, I'm always going to keep it 100, and I am so over them. I don't think they will ever get back together. I think that they are better off as close friends. And honestly, Morgan, I know you said you wouldn't take advice from Tyler Cameron in a relationship or dating advice. I personally would take relationship advice from Tyler Cameron because everyone is obsessed with Tyler. Like, he knows how to get all of the girls, to get all of the guys. Like, Tyler knows how to keep everyone interested. So I would totally take advice from Tyler. I'm definitely reading this book. I heard that in the book, there's like a picture section in the middle. And like, if you haven't gotten enough pictures from Tyler on his Instagram, like, you're going to have to get this book just to check out the exclusive pictures. It's probably not OnlyFans, but it's probably just him with his shirt off. Maybe some pictures we've never seen before. But Tyler's in a new relationship now. I know we're going to touch on it a little bit. And he was just on Watch What Happens Live last night, and his girlfriend Camila was actually in the audience. And Tyler was swooning over her. So I think Tyler's in a really happy place right now with his new relationship. He's about to make a lot of money from this book. I bet you he's going to be on the New York Times bestselling author, as every reality star ends up on. And Hannah's really happy too. A lot of people have pointed out that Hannah's new boyfriend looks like Tyler. But I think Tyler's better looking. So I think Hannah, you know, definitely lost the best thing that could have ever happened to her. I don't think Tyler owes her anything. She broke up with him.
No,
He broke up with
absolutely not.
him.
No, and I don't think, you know, taking relationship advice is different from being desirable. Tyler Cameron is like one of the hottest specimen we've ever seen on TV, and women just flock to him. That doesn't necessarily mean that he has always had successful relationships. If I want to read a book about how to have a successful relationship, I'll talk to maybe like a life coach, not Tyler Cameron.
Well, I just want to talk to Tyler Cameron regardless. I just want to talk to him and read his book regardless. So I'm getting the book.
Well, listen, I absolutely love you guys. You killed me. I have to say, I think Tyler and Hannah are both living their best lives right now. We have no idea what the future will hold. Zachary, obviously, we're going to want a full recap of this book after you read it. But for now, we're going to move on from these two because we have a lot to talk about, you guys, today. We, of course, want to know your thoughts on Tyler and Hannah and if you still ship them because, listen, we're not judging. A lot of people out there do still have a lot of hope for these two. True. Let us know in the chat if you are tuning in live with us. And of course, if you are not already subscribed to our channel, make sure you do. Make sure you ring the bell because we are covering all things Bachelor 24/7 here on Shared News. We are going to move on because we do have a little bit of an update from Chris Harrison on how he is doing after his Bachelor Nation exit. The dust has settled. It has been some time now, and TMZ actually caught up with him and his girlfriend Lauren Zima as they were out celebrating his 50th birthday. He seems to be in such a great place, you guys. He was very happy, big smile on his face, and I have to say he was very polite to the TMZ paparazzi guy who had a camera right up in his face. They asked how he was doing since leaving the franchise, and he said immediately that he wishes everybody the best. And he made a little joke. He said after 19 years, it is nice to have his Mondays back. He actually was able to celebrate his birthday on Monday this year, which I guess usually he wouldn't have been able to do. He was then asked how he feels about Matt and Rachel, of course, being back together because it was his attempt to defend Rachel that obviously, got him in trouble. He said he's happy for them. He wishes them all the best. He hopes they're in love and that they do great. He also revealed that he is keeping up with the current Bachelorette season just from afar. So still seems to have some love for the franchise. Sent a lot of well wishes towards everyone on the show's way. Morgan, it feels like, based on what we're seeing here, he's really been able to move on. What are your thoughts on what he had to say?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the network kind of forced him to move on, but really, what is he supposed to do? He's been on the show for 19 years. I feel like maybe it wasn't going to happen with Katie's season, but I feel like the end was probably in sight for Chris Harrison. Surely he wasn't going to do this for 10 more years. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he would do it forever if they let him, but I just feel like, he's got enough money to retire and live happily in a mansion in Dallas and be with his girlfriend, Lauren Zima. So I feel like really at the end of the day, his problems aren't that big. I did think it was interesting that he said he was keeping up with the current Bachelorette season from afar. I don't know how true that is either. I feel like, if it were me and it was my show and I was no longer a part of it, I probably wouldn't keep up with it at all. But I do think that Chris is being cordial about the situation, but I don't expect anything else. I wouldn't expect him to go around trashing the show. I wouldn't expect him going around being angry and bitter. It is unfortunate that he had to close that chapter of his life the way that it did. We can't go back and change what happened, but I think that he's opening a new chapter and he'll be happy in his next chapter. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, you make a good point, was very diplomatic, it felt like, right? Like, he's not holding anything against what happened. And I think, listen, let's face it, if we are to take all of those statements he made way back when for their word, then he wanted to hold himself accountable, right? And start this next chapter of his life and see where the rest of his journey is going to take him in his career. Zachary, we've obviously been keeping up with The Bachelorette this season, not from afar. And it is different without him, but I think overall we've been enjoying it. Do you feel like you miss his presence on a weekly basis?
Honestly, it wasn't until the Tell All where I actually missed him. Because yes, Tayshia and Caitlin did a very good job, but I felt like Chris just knows how to get in there and ask the right questions and really get all of the emotion and everything out of it. And I just feel like this is why Chris was the host for 19 years, because he's so good at what he does. And I missed him at the Men Tell All, but all season I didn't miss him too much. It was funny to see him say he's happy to get his Monday nights back. What is going on a Monday night? I personally don't know, because I've been watching The Bachelor for the past however many years, just like Chris has. But I wonder if he called the paparazzi on himself, because I know that a lot of people do that. Maybe he needed some good press and a little bit of closure since it is the end of the season. So I kind of think that he might have done that. And of course, he's not going to talk bad about the franchise. They just gave him $20 million to retire, and he's only 50. So he can't say anything bad. And when he says he's watching it from afar, I think that it's probably impossible for him not to keep up with The Bachelor. It's actually impossible for everyone not to keep up with The Bachelor, because it's all over everywhere. Literally, people who don't even watch the show know what's going on. So of course he's going to keep up from afar. I don't think he's going to watch every episode. He's probably relieved not to sit through the 4-hour documentary every Monday night. So I think he's going to enjoy his retirement with his loads of money, and I'm glad he had a great birthday.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad he had a great birthday. I don't know if he called the paparazzi on himself or not, but honestly, if he did, he wanted to just show the world that he is in a good place. And you know what? He accomplished that goal. You guys, we want to know, of course, your thoughts on everything Chris had to say here. Are you guys missing him? Some people really, really were not on board for a season without him. So let us know how you're feeling about Caitlin and Tayshia's hosting, and if you think they should hire someone more like Chris Harrison, I guess, in the future in the chat. Friendly reminder, at the end of the show, we're going to look at all of your comments and take any questions you guys have as well. So make sure you keep chatting chatting with us throughout the stream. We are going to move on, though, because Paradise is truly right around the corner, you guys.
Thank
I
God.
know all three of us are truly so excited. And we have kind of our first, I'm going to call it real trailer, right? It's still very short, but this is the first, I feel like, actual glimpse into what we're going to see going down on that beach that we have. I really want to dive into these clips, so whenever we're ready, let's go ahead and roll the first one because the wait is finally over.
Yes.
The wait has been a real beach.
Yes, the champagne.
It has been.
This is what we wanted.
Look, clearly Kelsey has been practicing because that is a successful champagne pop this time.
Yes, Kelsey.
This honestly, even though it's just that small, silly little clip, like brought me right back. I am so ready for Paradise. Zachary, I know you are too. What are you like most excited about, honestly?
Can we just talk about how cute Abigail is? Like, she is so adorable. She is definitely the it girl from Matt James's season. So I think a lot of the guys are going to be going after her. I'm so excited for Paradise. I mean, remember that shot? Can we put that shot back with all of the shirtless men? That is the shot that I want on my screen, like, all the time. So that's what I'm most excited about in Paradise, to see more of this, like, there we go. I want to see all of the guys dating the girls. Like, it's much more of an even playing field in Paradise. And that's what I like about it with all of the drama. It's a lot more genuine because now they're like getting involved in these love triangles. We love a complicated, messy relationship. But this shot right here is definitely what I'm most looking forward to in Bachelor in Paradise. Morgan, what about you?
All of it, honestly. I'm excited for the lightheartedness of Paradise. I feel like we really need it. I missed it last year, because Paradise is like our escape from reality. It is similar to The Bachelorette or The Bachelor in a sense where you want these people to find genuine relationships. But it's much more lighthearted and fun and funny and, petty drama. And those are the types of shows that I absolutely live for. So I'm just ready for Paradise to be back officially. I have no idea who's going to hook up with who, but I'm ready for it. And congratulations to Kelsey for learning how to pop a bottle of champagne. I personally don't know how to do it. So maybe she'll give like classes on the beach and I can learn how to do it through my TV, watching on my couch.
Yeah. I see bright things for Kelsey this season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love everything about Paradise. I'm much more into The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, but there was a large chunk of my life where I was like, I just like Paradise. I only want to watch Paradise because I really do like the chaotic energy of the beach. But now that I'm more invested in the overall franchise, I love a redemption moment in Paradise. And they're already teasing our first one here with Kelsey. So we'll see if we get some even more serious redemption from like a Carl or a Victoria. Lots of things to look forward to. One of our favorites from Tayshia's season is, of course, going to be on the beach. That is Brendan, and we have a little sneak peek of him in this teaser. Let's take a look.
Is that the plan? Drinking every day?
Yes, Brendan, that is exactly the plan, drinking every day. But now they're doing the 2 drinks an hour limit, which they've been doing for the past couple of years since that big blow up on season 4 with Corinne and DeMario. So now you can only drink 2 drinks an hour, but they're going to be drinking every single day for sure.
Well, and how strong can those drinks be? Because I feel like, I don't know about you, Morgan, but if I had 2 really strong drinks an hour, I could be in all sorts of places.
Yeah.
Especially when you're out on the hot beach in the middle of wherever they are. Are they in Mexico? I know they normally go to Mexico.
Yes.
But like, oh my gosh, when you're in the sun and you're probably not drinking as much water as you should, I feel like very easily it could lead to disaster.
But Brendan seems like a buzzkill in this.
He looks so good. No, he's not a buzzkill.
He seems like a buzzkill.
Cool. No, he's the it guy. If I was on the beach, Brendan would be my first pick, hands down.
I have to say, me too. 100%.
Okay, well, I'm going for
Ivan, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm going for Aaron, just because I liked all the drama he stirred. But also Noah. I don't know, something just changed in the past week. A lot of things are changing, and Noah is becoming one of my fan favorites. I just followed him on Instagram yesterday.
Wow, big development. Here's the thing,
big
honestly. We're gonna have so many varying favorites throughout this Paradise season. That's what makes Paradise so fun. And I honestly think, like, for instance, we just saw Tammy there for a second. Zachary, you know, I don't love Tammy. Maybe I'll be obsessed with her by the end of Paradise. That's just how this works.
I think you will be. Wait, who's this girl on the jet ski with Brendan? Can we tell who this is? She looks blonde.
It's a blonde.
Okay,
it looks kind of like Kelsey, I think.
This is what I want to look at, you guys, because this trailer is so quick. But we do have an early look at what could potentially be some couples. We see a couple of different groupings together in this next clip. So let's like put our detectives hats on and try to really figure this out. Obviously, we see what appears to be Brendan and a blonde, could be Kelsey, but there are some more clues to be found. So let's keep looking.
Monday, August 16th, Paradise is back, baby. Romancier.
Let's just go to bed.
Romancier.
You look good, man.
We're meant to find love.
Okay, I see some.
I saw Ivan and Jasenia.
Ivan and Jasenia.
I want instant thoughts. Like, Morgan, do you like this? Do you ship it? Are you shocked? How are you feeling?
Love this. I love Ivan and Jasenia. I think they are like model status, both of them. They would make the most gorgeous babies. And I mean, Jasenia, she was in that drama with who? MJ, but I was team Jasenia, so I will say that. And of course, Ivan was a fan favorite, so I would totally ship these two together. Look at them. You guys, stop.
I agree. Okay, what about you, Zach?
100%.
I agree.
No, 100% I ship them. Jasenia is a princess. Like, she just has that look. She's always so sparkly. Like, but I did see a few other couples, so I know we're all going to agree on this. So let's see, what other couples did you guys spot? Because there was a few more.
Joe
We're going to
and
get some
Serena
more shots.
P.
Yes, that one.
There we go. Joe and Serena P.
Go.
Now, I don't know that much about Grocery Store Joe, you guys, so I'm going to let you take the lead on these two. What are your thoughts, Zachary?
Grocery Store Joe. Okay, well, first eliminated night 1 on Becca's season. Then he went to Bachelor in Paradise season 5, and he went all the way to the end with Kendall. They didn't get engaged. They ended up dating in real life for about 2 years and broke up last year. And it just doesn't make sense why he's back on the beach, because he didn't want to get engaged last time. Now all of a sudden he's ready. I don't know, because the thing that is just weird for me is because I feel like he has a podcast, Clickbait Nation, which is like part of the Bachelor franchise, like the Bachelor like produces it or whatever. So I just like feel like they tell him that he has to go on Paradise because he's on the podcast. But maybe I'm just being too skeptical. Morgan, I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I love Grocery Store Joe. Why is it so hard to say?
Yeah. Say it in a Chicago accent. He's Chicago.
Yeah, and Zachary, I mean, you know I love you, but I have to disagree with you, because the only reason why Kendall and Joe broke up is because Kendall was unwilling to move to Chicago, which Joe moved to LA for Kendall for 2 years. And, you know, he didn't want to break up with her from what I understand, but he was homesick and he wanted to go home to Chicago. And Kendall was like, no, I can't see myself living there. What I feel like, if you're in a serious committed relationship, you kind of have to be flexible on that. And I know, because I am in a long distance relationship, my boyfriend and I talk all the time about, okay, well, in the next 6 months, are we going to be here? Are we going to be there? At the end of the day, what matters to us most is that we're going to be together for the long term. So I feel like Joe coming back to the beach actually is a sign that he is ready to get engaged, because he was there with Kendall, right? Maybe he didn't get engaged on the beach, but he was in that long-term relationship and it didn't work out. So maybe he's like fully invested this time, where he's like, you know what, that didn't work out, but I'm ready to find the one for me. I'm ready to find my person. And I have really high hopes for Joe and Serena P. I wouldn't put them together on paper. It just isn't something that I initially would put them together, but I love it. I think they're both pretty chill. I mean, Serena P was one of my favorites from Matt's season, so I'm excited to see this play out between the two of them.
Well, hopefully she can move to Chicago. Hopefully she can move to Chicago, because she's in Canada and I know how strict the borders are right now. So hopefully it'll be easier for her to get to Chicago than it will be for Kendall. But you know, we'll have to see. I mean, he's one of the very few old school contestants that is coming back this season. There's only a few of them that we know of. There's some rumors online, so far that are actually not from the past year or two. Like he goes back a few years.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And listen, aside from the early couples that they're teasing, they, of course, literally went out of their way in that clip to tease more bromance. We do know that the guys from Tayshia and Claire's season, a lot of them were pretty buddy-buddy. And now we have Katie's season, which literally has taken bromance to a whole new level. I feel like the friendships between the guys might actually really end up taking center stage this season as opposed to the friendships with the girls, because if we think about it, a lot of the girls are from Matt James's season and that house didn't really get along with each other. I don't know, like, I think I'm really excited about this because I like these bromances, but how are you guys feeling? Are you worried it's going to be too bromance heavy? Are you excited for it? Zachary, what are your thoughts?
I mean, of course, I love a bromance, you know, two straight men holding hands. What could be wrong with that?
All right, we like
You know
it.
what it
Short and
reminds
sweet.
me
What about you?
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? And I know, Fiona, that you aren't as heavy of a Bravo fan as Zachary and I are, but it reminds me of the New Jersey house husbands, where everybody
yeah.
loves watching the husbands and watching their interactions together. It's one of like the biggest draws of the show. And to me, one of the reasons why New Jersey is one of the best franchises in Bravo. So I feel like maybe they're taking the page out of that playbook and they're going to really play up the bromances this season because it does add a new layer to the show. And I'm excited for it. I think it's cute as long as it doesn't overpower the love stories. That's always what I want to see first and foremost, even in like regular Bachelor and Bachelorette seasons. I don't want the drama to overpower like, you know, the romance. So I think as like a side story, I like the bromances, but hopefully they don't do too much of it.
Yeah, hopefully we get some fun, like, lighthearted release from it because, listen, I mean, it wouldn't be a promo without them teasing some tears. And we all know that the no longer queen, the goddess Victoria, will be on the beach. So there's going to be something that comes with that. We don't know what yet. Let's watch the little sneak preview we have in this next clip.
And no man's here.
I want to go home.
Why would I stay?
It's hard to be funny when you're like so hot.
Almost paradise.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh my God,
Okay.
Connor looks drunk.
He does look drunk. Morgan, I'm going to start with you and ask for your take on Victoria because I know how Zachary feels, and don't worry, Zachary, we'll give you a chance as well. Personally, I'm not thrilled. How do you feel about her being there?
Victoria just does the most at every chance she gets. And it's so blatantly obvious that all she wants is TV time. So, like, to me, I just don't like it. I think it's corny. I think it's lame. Sorry.
All right,
No,
Zachary,
don't apologize.
I know you have a
You should.
rebuttal.
Well, first of all, never apologize for your opinion. I think we all are entitled to have one. Sometimes your opinion is wrong, but it's fine. I do want to clarify on behalf of Goddess Vic that the reason she said she was so hot is because she was so hot outside, like with the weather. She wasn't calling herself so hot. So I just want to clarify, she put that on her Instagram. And second of all, the exact reason why Morgan cannot stand her is the exact reason why I love her, because she's always doing the most. She wants her TV time. Listen, when I go on reality TV and you guys are talking about me and I'm doing the most, are you guys going to say the same thing?
No.
Just be nice to people, Zach, and we won't be
Yes.
so
Okay.
mean to you.
I will try. I'll be nice.
That is the
but I'll be
difference.
sarcastic.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
want to be
to
like
me, that
witty
is the
and
difference.
yeah. You want to like throw
Like,
light
Vic-
shade that's like funny and not like the harsh shade. So I think she is coming back for a redemption story.
Listen, if Victoria is hilarious on that beach, like, I will give her, whether she's talking about the weather or herself, that little clip there was funny. It was entertaining, right? To me, I just go back to when all we could talk about was that intensely toxic energy of Matt James's house. And I don't, Matt James's house, his season, I don't want that on
His
the
like
beach.
castle.
So it's- yeah,
His
literal-
castle. That thing was huge.
This hotel.
But I love her crown.
Yes, she's
The crown's
already
like
that
a
crown has a
knows.
lot of the crown has a lot of detail. Like that definitely took a lot of time for her to find. I mean, that crown is everything.
Okay, we're gonna move on from Victoria because I know we are going to be talking about her nonstop during Paradise because she will be there, crown and all, doing what she does. So for now, we're gonna move on from her. Before we end the subject of Paradise, you guys, we want to know from you. Let us know in the chat who you are shipping, whether you saw them in this teaser or not. Just if two of your favorites are there and you want them to get together, let us know. We're dying to hear your thoughts. And honestly, we're never going to stop asking the question, are you excited about Victoria or not excited about Victoria? So let us know that as well. You guys, we've got to move on to talk about the advice that Katie revealed that she actually gave to Michelle as the countdown to her season begins. After the Men Tell All, Katie revealed to Entertainment Tonight that she has been in touch with Michelle to share as much wisdom as she can before her season starts filming later this summer. Katie said, quote, "I've spoken to her as much as I can because I know it's any day now that they're going to take her phone away. I think the biggest advice I've given to her is to just be open. Don't close yourself off too early. I think guys can surprise you weeks later than you would expect it." Now, I'm curious about two things, you guys. A, your thoughts on this advice, and B, like, obviously Katie is speaking from experience of her own season. So Zachary, how do you interpret these words?
I love the advice, and I think it's advice that anyone can use in their real life. Like, looks can only take you so far. Like, you might see someone who's like a 7 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10, and then you get to know them and you're in an environment with them, and then all of a sudden they're so much hotter than that. They're a 10 out of 10. Like, really, like, getting to know someone takes time. So I think that's really good advice, especially when there are so many men. You could get drawn to one too quickly, cough Claire. Like, you need to give everyone a chance. So I think it was really good advice. So I think that also with this season, I mean, we know there's going to be a big blow up. We just saw the teaser. Like, Katie's crying. She's threatening to leave her home. So something is going on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how her season wraps up and if that gives us any more clues as to like what she may or may not have told Michelle. Morgan, what is your take on this advice?
So what sticks out to me most is her final sentence. I think guys can surprise you weeks later when you don't expect it. Now, I think she means that both ways. First and foremost, weeks later when you don't expect it, hello, Blake. I mean, Matt has been all over it. But I think she can mean it in the opposite sense as well. We saw what she said about Connor B, who they started off very strong. She said, you know, this is the guy for me after he came out in the catsuit. And then weeks later, it just fizzled out. So I think really the advice is good and it goes both ways. Guys can surprise you in a good way where you end up really falling for them. But guys can also surprise you where in an instant you can kind of realize, okay, this isn't the relationship for me, even if I thought it was at first.
Yeah, I totally agree with you both, and I definitely think it was great advice. What's interesting is, separate from obviously just like supporting Michelle through giving her advice, hyping her up for her season, it looks like Katie may actually kind of have her eye out for Michelle as well. She revealed that there is a guy from her season who she thinks would be great for Michelle. She told Entertainment Tonight, "I actually think Josh would be a very good match for Michelle, for sure. They just have very similar personalities. He is such a sweetheart, and I think that's what she's looking for. Someone who's just really so kind-hearted. That's something that Josh really offers." So I think this is kind of interesting, just seeing how Tayshia seemingly brought Blake into Katie's life, and Blake is going really, really far. Do we think it's possible that Katie is kind of pushing behind the scenes to get Josh on Michelle's season? I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Morgan? Would you want to see that?
Who's Josh? Am I
literally who is Josh?
Crazy thinking that I don't
Someone
remember.
tell me who Josh is.
Who
one
is
knows who Josh is. Literally,
So
it's like Brendan. Like, who is Brendan?
Josh has not been with us for a while. He was a good guy. He had a couple of fun moments. I guess, well, let's like take away maybe his personality and just take Katie's word at face value. Let me rephrase. Do you like the idea of former bachelorettes kind of maybe influencing who the next bachelorette could end up with? Because I'm not gonna lie, Josh, I think, let us know in the chat if he was super memorable to you guys, but I honestly don't think he was that memorable of a character, right? For us, because we didn't get to see him and then he went home. So more of the question of, do we like maybe Katie influencing Michelle's journey in that way, Morgan?
Yeah, so I looked up Josh and I can confirm he had no screen time. I mean, now that I look him up, I know who he is, I know his face, but I don't think I saw him say one single word on Katie's season. But I actually don't hate it if it's the right person. If it's somebody like Thomas, like, no, that's not going to be a thing. But if it's somebody who producers think like, oh, their personalities actually really do mesh well, I don't hate it. Is it something that I want to see every season? Not really. And I feel like that's the trend that we're starting to go down. And I don't necessarily want that to be the same curveball every season. So I would say let's take a break from this with Michelle's season, especially because nobody knows who Josh is and we're not invested in him at all. Do you remember him now, Zach?
Yeah, I know the face.
Turtleneck guy.
Yeah. No, Brendan was the turtleneck guy.
Well.
I actually like when they bring people back. I think the Heather thing was a great episode. Back with Nick Vile back in the day. Blake makes because Haiti. I like when they bring someone back. It just has to be a memorable person. Someone like Josh, who just like, as we mentioned, didn't get a lot of airtime, was not an integral part on the season. It has to be someone who like played a part and really made themselves known. And then I think it works out and it's great for drama, especially when it is a couple episodes in.
Interesting. See, I definitely like see where you're going with that because Blake was so memorable that I was like, all right, like I remember Blake, but it really didn't work out between him and Tayshia. Let's see where this goes. But I almost liked the idea of it being someone that I don't feel like I super know because it feels more like a clean slate. Like they came in, it wasn't a match with Katie, but producers saw something in him, Katie saw something in him, and now maybe we get to know him with the person who he actually is going to connect with enough that, let's face it, he gets some screen time because, like you guys said, we don't really know this guy. Obviously, we are totally speculating here. Like, there is no actual rumor, unless I missed a Reality Steve post, right? That, like, he is going to be a part of Michelle's season. This is just Katie maybe putting some good vibes out into the universe. We're going to move on to a little bit of a Caitlyn and Tayshia update where it regards to Michelle's season because they were asked after the final rose at Men Tell All. There's too many things, you guys. They were asked after Men Tell All if they're going to be hosting Michelle's season. And they both said that they don't know yet, but that they'd love to and that they hope they are. So that is actually something we haven't really heard from them yet, like directly answering this question. And they put it out there, right? They made it clear that they're not only down for the job, but they're hopeful that they get the job, which tells me that conversations must be going on behind the scenes. I mean, we already knew that, but we got some confirmation here. Zachary, do you hope it's them? Like, would you be down for more of Caitlyn and Tayshia?
They already got the job. I think they already signed the contract for a season and announced because they're gonna wait until after the final rose and then announce it together. So it's a big moment. That's just my prediction. But I definitely want to see them back for Michelle's season. And I will say that Jason Tartick, who honestly spoils the show a lot on his Instagram, FYI, if you guys follow him. He put on his Instagram story last week that Caitlyn is going to be like, she has a project later in the summer that she's going to be away for. Like, he literally just like said it casually while answering questions in a Q&A. So of course, like that's what he was referring to. Like, he couldn't be more obvious. And he also spoiled that Michael A was eliminated before, like the West Coast time knew. So, I definitely think they'll be there. And sorry for the Jason shade. I do love Jason, but he just has a big mouth.
Interesting. All right, well, I'm with you. I actually do think that it's definitely going to be them. I just think that at this point, why throw production another curveball? Like, we talked about this way back when. Obviously, Caitlyn and Tayshia had to learn how to do this role. If they constantly are switching people in and out, no one's ever going to get a chance to really, like, get good at this and own this position the way Chris Harrison did. So, Morgan, if we see Caitlyn and Tayshia returning, right, for Michelle's season, do we feel like maybe this is just going to be it, right? That we're going to see Caitlyn and Tayshia doing this for some time, you know, more seasons to come? Or do you think it's still just going to be this bookended patch? Katie's season, Michelle's season, okay, we start completely fresh from here. What do you think is more likely?
I think it's really possible that Tayshia and Caitlyn have it locked down. You know, they did a good job the first time around. They can only go up from here. I will say that I think it's just as much a learning curve for production as it is for Caitlyn and Tayshia. I would want to see some subtle differences, like both of them don't have to walk up to the rose ceremony and say, it's the final rose when only Caitlyn is talking. Like, that's so awkward every time they do it. I also think that it will give them opportunities in the future to go deeper at the men tell all. I know we touched on this a little bit ago when Zach was speaking, but I didn't get to share my opinion. I thought it was good. I thought what they did was good, but to me, it was very rehearsed. I felt like we didn't get a lot of follow-up questions where Chris Harrison really knew how to get to like the heart and soul of an issue, as where at least what we saw edited was just, I think, producer written questions. Okay, Caitlyn, you asked this one. Tayshia, you asked this one. Then we're going to go to this guy. It just felt very structured. So I'm hoping that with more time that goes on, that will be a little bit different. But overall, I really have enjoyed Caitlyn and Tayshia, maybe sometimes a little bit more than Katie, which I think is the biggest downfall. In the opening episode specifically, right? Everyone was like, when they pulled up in the Corvette or the whatever it was, the convertible, like that was the moment that everyone was talking about, not Katie's night one dress and Katie's first impression rose. So I just feel like there might be some subtle tweaks here and there. Overall, I don't think that they have outshined Katie's season, but I do think that it will get better with time. And I think that if they continue to rotate people in and out, it just is going to be constant chaos, constantly having to teach people over and over and over again. I don't think they want that.
No, and to be honest with you as an audience, I don't think we want that. Sorry, go ahead, Zachary.
Well, I was just going to say, I would like to see Caitlyn and Tayshia host the Bachelorette every year. And then I want to see Wells host Paradise every year. And then someone else who's like maybe from an alumni or just maybe someone else host the Bachelor every year. This way it kind of changes it up. Because I think it would just put too much pressure to hire someone as the host, as like Chris Harrison 2.0 full time. Like, I'd rather just see a new host for each season, depending on what the show is, what the spinoff is.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because if you have different people that are owning different sections of this franchise, it allows each show to kind of have its own personality, which is something that we didn't really see with Chris, right? Because he brought his Chris Harrison-ness to each show, and he did a great job with it, but this could be, as the franchise enters its like new chapter, you know, it makes up for some of its past mistakes. Like, this could be a great way to create that new vibe, that new energy, those new changes going forward. Obviously, only time will tell. I think they really do love to hold us in suspense with these big changes because it keeps us talking about it. But you guys, we want to know in the chat what you want to see. Do you want to see more of Caitlyn and Tayshia? If you don't want to see Caitlyn and Tayshia, who do you want to see? Let us know, and we're going to look at your answers a little later on. We do have to talk about Katie's current season because we are at a very pivotal moment, you guys. You guys, HomeTowns are right around the corner, and we have a very, very dramatic promo for what's to come. Like, truly, I got goosebumps the first time I saw it. I want to dive into these clips as we do and do our absolute best to maybe make sense of some of these teeny tiny flashes of drama they're showing us, because I am getting really nervous about this next episode. I don't know about you guys. Obviously,
no, I am
the question... Too. Right? Obviously, the question we all have, and we've all had all season, is Katie going to find love? And that is obviously on her mind heading into HomeTowns. Let's check out this first clip.
Let's do it.
I came here to fall in love. And not just any kind of love, but the forever kind.
Okay, so starting off with some steamy moments with Greg and Blake. I know that we've all been saying for so long now, it's going to come down to Greg versus Blake. It's going to come down to Greg versus Blake. Morgan, how are you feeling as we head into HomeTowns about her connections with these guys?
It's gonna come down to Greg versus
It's gonna
Blake.
come
I mean,
down to
there's
Greg
none
versus
for
Blake.
Justin in that promo. Like they're like, okay, bye, Justin. See you later. Just threw my pen. Like she's gonna throw him out. No, I think that Katie. You guys, I think that she really likes Greg. I think that Greg is the front runner, but it's just my conspiracy theory. I think Greg is going to break her heart. I know we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's my prediction. I think Greg is number 1. I think Blake is number 2. And I think Justin, we've said it before, wants to take to fantasy suites. Zach, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think she wants to take all 3 of them to fantasy suites. I know that I do. I love Greg. He's my personal favorite on Left on the Show, my pick. So I cannot wait to see what happens because it's going to be really dramatic as we are about to see in these next few promo clips.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, Michael A sent himself home, so we're already at the final 3, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, we skipped an entire, like, potential elimination for her to get some more time to figure this all out. Already down to 3. Let's check out this next clip.
I have 3 great guys.
I know I'm falling in love with you. You make me the happiest I've ever been.
Katie is everything I've ever wanted.
There's Justin.
I was going to say,
Looking
there's
good.
Justin.
He is so attractive.
He does look good, and he just said that he's sure that he's falling in love with her. I mean, Zachary, I know it's Blake versus Greg, and I know we love Greg, but do we think Justin could maybe, I don't think he's not won people over, but he just feels behind to me, I guess. Do you think he could kind of sneak his way in this week, or no, just Greg versus Blake?
I mean, I do think Justin has a lot going for him. Like I mentioned earlier, he's an artist. Like, you know, that is a huge turn on. I mean, someone that could fill your home with beautiful art. He's very attractive, probably comes from a good family. He stayed out of the drama all season. And, you know, that's a great plaid shirt. Wonder where he got it. No, he's not going anywhere. Like, he definitely was the dark horse. I knew he was going to kind of make it a little bit farther from the beginning. I had a feeling, but the dark horse always gets 3rd place.
Morgan, if Greg breaks Katie's heart, though, or if Blake, you know, disappears into thin air, Justin, like, could end up in that final 2. And I guess I'm just having such a hard time processing that. Like, I don't see him as final 3, final 2 for her, even though I see him as a great guy. I really did think he was going to go to Paradise and really, like, make us fall in love with him there. Do you agree? How are you feeling about Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I think really it does. And my brain always goes here because I'm just a reality TV geek, but it does come down to the edit, right? And Justin is not getting a winner's edit. We don't even know him. We know a lot more from Blake when he got there 3 weeks later. We're getting a lot more from Greg. I think we're getting the most from Greg, which is why I think that, like, he is number 1 on Katie's radar. But the Bachelor franchise does not care to have Bachelor Nation root for Justin because we haven't seen him. You know, if he was going to be the winner, we would know a lot more about his story. We would know a lot more about his family. We would know a lot more about his connection with Katie, and we just don't. So I feel like the writing is kind of written on the wall with that one.
Yeah. I mean, on that one-on-one date with Katie and Justin, Katie was the one that opened up about her dad and everything. We never got Justin's story. Usually on one-on-one dates, you get the love story or the whatever the story, like the hardship story. We never got Justin's.
Yeah, I just feel like we don't know his personality. Like, if I had to explain Justin to someone, I don't really know what I would say other than he's an artist, he's attractive, and he seems like a really nice guy, right? But this far in, I feel like I could really explain, like, to a girlfriend, Blake or Greg, in a way that we feel like, oh, we know them. I don't feel that way with Justin. We're going to move on. We're going to give Justin a break. Katie has not said I love you to anyone, and she's actually kind of explaining in this next clip why. So let's listen to that.
Saying I love you is something I have chosen to keep private. I don't want to tell one guy I love him until the very end. Now we're going into HomeTowns.
So I'm curious about your thoughts on this because we don't often see the leads dropping an I love you on tons of people. So it's interesting that she's being very strategic about this because I just feel like I wasn't confused as to why she wasn't saying it, right? I wasn't expecting it from her. But now we know if and when she does say it, there's a lot of strategy and sort of weight behind that. What are your thoughts on this, Morgan?
Yeah, so there is a point where she does say it. We've heard her in a promo whisper it to someone. So it's like we're all just kind of on pins and needles as to when that is going to be. I feel like it was a whisper. So would it be at a final rose ceremony? That doesn't really seem like the place where you would whisper it. To me, it kind of feels like a fantasy suite moment, you know, when they're like laying in bed, the two of them about to go to sleep, about to shut the producers out of the room. Like, that is a whisper I love you moment. But like she said, she's not going to throw it around to everybody. So if we hear her say it to one person, I'm assuming that's going to be the person who wins. I'm interested to see how it plays out, though. It is very interesting.
Zach, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, she wants to kind of save, I think she said this in an interview, she wants to save or to Tayshia, I love you for the final person. And I think she might say, I'm falling for you to a couple different people, but I think she wants to save like that moment for one person, which will probably work out for her a lot better. I mean, I think Ben Higgins was like the first one to make that mistake. He said, I love you to two people. And then you just really blindside someone so hard. And I think that it's good that she has to kind of refrain her feelings a little bit because otherwise someone's going to get hurt. Like, this is like always when the most dramatic breakup happens in the final episode. Like, remember Blake on Becca's season? Like, someone is going to get so crushed. So, I mean, the tensions are high. The emotions are high. I can't wait to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part where obviously once family gets involved, you start to really daydream and really envision like, okay, this is it. Like, this person's meeting my family. Like, I'm so all in. And of course, as we all know, this is where people get really let down. We really need to pay attention, I feel like, to these clips with Blake and his family because they've sort of given us teases of these from honestly way earlier than I thought we would. We knew that Blake was going to be in HomeTowns, I feel like earlier than we should have. And it looks like his family is going to be giving him kind of a kick in the butt to get there with Katie, which is sort of interesting. Let's watch this next clip.
And meeting someone's family is huge.
I can see he is smitten.
So I think maybe this is his mom. I don't know. She's totally adorable. I'm so sorry.
It's definitely his mom.
Exactly.
She is so
like
adorable.
I think Gen Z might really roast Katie for that pink sweater, Zach, and I just like need to know your thoughts about this.
Yeah, but Katie doesn't even care. Like, she said she doesn't care on Twitter, so it really doesn't matter what Gen Z says anymore. It's cute. I think it's cute. I like the dress,
I love it.
No,
I think she looks fine, and I love that she doesn't care, but I just feel like there are so many, like, on the younger spectrum of the people watching the show that are not going to love this sweater. But you're right. She doesn't care about it, and she's going to brush it off even if they come for her, and that is what counts. I think this is Blake's mom. I think Katie is going to win his family over based on what we see them saying to Blake later in these clips. But Morgan, meeting the mom is a big moment, right? Assuming that this is her. How do you think this is going to go?
Yeah, I mean, the one person that you want to win over is the mom, right? I feel like Katie's very charismatic. She feels very warm. I feel like she probably doesn't have a hard time in general of winning, her boyfriend's mom's over. And I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer, but I hate the pink cardigan. I had those back in 2000. Like, I'm sorry. There's a stylist on set. Like, how does this happen?
She's not using a stylist. No, she literally isn't using it. She said it on Twitter that she dresses herself when someone asked her. So she's not using the stylist, which explains a lot.
Even if she doesn't use the stylist is there to guide her. Like, you still can't just do whatever you want to do. The dress is cute, but the cardigan is not. The cardigan is not. I'm
right.
sorry. It's
You're
not.
definitely, you have valid points. You know, I'm excited to see Michelle's fashion and how that kind of lines up because Michelle like, wasn't known for her fashion at all last season. So we'll see. But I think Katie's going to win over the whole family. And there's less guys. Like usually it's 4 guys. Now it's only 3, maybe even 2. Justin is getting a hometown because we saw him with that cardboard cutout of Baltimore, but maybe 3 guys is a little bit easier to tell the family, oh, I just have 2 boyfriends instead of 3.
Well, and she might end up being able to score a little bit of extra time with these families because she doesn't have to do 4. She only has to do 3, which honestly could be really great for her. Speaking of Justin, we're going to obviously meet his family as well. Let's look at that little sneak preview they're giving us of Justin and his family.
He was the first guy to kiss me.
Wow.
Okay,
Do you
so it looks like his parents aren't there.
Yeah, no,
No.
I don't remember that, but I'm also wondering who those guys are. They must just be close friends. Maybe like
Unless
brothers or
one's his
cousins.
brother.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I wonder where his parents
Well-
are, but sometimes parents don't want to film or can go on the show, or maybe he doesn't have parents. We really don't know.
Well, and also I feel like they're just doing their best. Like with who knows, maybe we have some crazy COVID concerns like pre-existing,
Yeah.
but like who knows? These hometowns, I really appreciate production's effort to like make them feel as special and as big when, you know, a cardboard cutout of your hometown just really isn't the same as the real thing. So everyone's working with what they got. Obviously, we're going to be
True.
meeting Greg's family as well. And it looks like Greg is going to get really excited to see whoever is here to support him. Let's check out this clip.
This is one of the most important days of my life.
I worry that his heart's gonna get hurt. At the end of this, everybody gets hurt except one man.
Yeah,
So I
that's
have
true.
to say, charmed by those tears. I feel like if he breaks down when he sees his mother, I'm gonna lose it. That is so cute. And yeah, let's talk about that really candid moment. I'm assuming that's Greg's mom. That is a very like candid, truthful answer that Katie's giving there. And I honestly feel like if I were a parent of someone on this show, I would appreciate that. I would not want to hear this like, oh, I just love everyone so much, and you know, this is a jerk. Like, no, be truthful. People are gonna get hurt except for one person, and I really like that she said everyone is, because she's gonna have to hurt people too, and that's not gonna feel good. Zachary, what are your thoughts on her honesty here?
I love it. And I think that's why I've liked Katie this whole season, because she's so transparent and honest on the show and on social media. Like, she really just keeps it 100. So I'm glad that she's bringing that energy with the mom. And I'm pretty sure Greg's family is like I'm pretty sure he mentioned that his mom or his sister is like a huge fan of the show. I think they knew what they were signing themselves up for.
What are your thoughts, Morgan?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel for Greg because, you know, he did lose his father. So I feel like his relationship with his mother is probably that much more important to him. This is such a monumental, you know, thing that he's going through, having Katie meet his mom on national television, you know, down to the final 3, a possible engagement. You can really see that he's taking it seriously and to heart. And I think that's where we're getting this emotion from. But no, I agree. We don't see people answer that question like that ever, leads, you know, they pretty much always just sugarcoat things and saying, you know, I am falling for your son, or I am falling for your daughter, and I do see a future. You know, we have these answers that we hear over and over and over again, but that's not Katie. I mean, even whether we're talking about her style or the way that she talks to Greg's mom, Katie is Katie, and she's not going to sugarcoat anything. She's not going to water down anything. And I think that's a reason why she's been a great Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think we all were so excited for her to bring that energy to the season, and I do not think she has disappointed us at all with not staying true to herself, which honestly is really great. Listen, we're getting to kind of the part of this teaser where things take a turn, and I think we really need to start paying close attention. Our guy Greg is gonna have a difficult time this week, I guess is the simplest way to put it. Let's watch our first glimpse of that in this next clip.
falling so hard for Katie. When I see them kissing, God, I'm sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
So this was teased early on, right? Like Greg has been upfront with the cameras, with us, with Katie, that he struggles with the fact that she is dating other guys. Personally, I could never go on the show because I could never handle that element of
Never.
it. But it is really going to get to him this week. And I think we've all kind of been nervous to see how much it affects him. Morgan, how do you think this is going to play out?
Well, I definitely think the producers know that Greg is a jealous guy, right? Because why else would they put Blake and Katie right outside the place that Greg is staying? I guarantee you a producer is like, let's go outside and have a one-on-one interview. And boom, there's Blake and Katie just making out to get this reaction out of Greg, which I think is super shady. And I would have a hard time with it too, especially when you get to the final three, especially once he's introduced Katie to his mom, somebody who has such a special place in his heart, to then walk out and see them making out would not be fun for anybody. And if I were Greg, I would probably have a meltdown as well.
Literally.
Zachary,
I mean,
do you agree?
I get jealous seeing a guy I like with someone, and if he's not even my boyfriend, so I can't even imagine how jealous Greg is feeling right now. I mean, this honestly is probably the worst part when it gets to the end for the guys left. Like, it's probably so frustrating to know that the girl you're literally in love with, you're planning on proposing to, still has strong feelings for other guys, especially now that they have to live with each other. Like, the beginning, it's all fun and roses in the beginning, but like the top 2, 3, it gets so intense, and I can only like sympathize with the frustration. Like, it seems so frustrating and annoying for Greg. So hopefully he can keep his eye on Katie and Katie only. I know that the producers are going to make it hard for him, but it's the only way to kind of get to the end.
Yeah, it really, you like kind of have to go into survival mode. I mean, we have seen this season after season. It always really, really weighs on at least one of the contestants, and it looks like this time it's going to be Greg. Let's pivot for a second and talk Blake, because I mentioned this earlier. It looks like Blake's family is going to really pressure him to tell Katie how he feels and not miss his shot, honestly. Let's watch this next clip.
You need to man up and tell her you love her.
What if somebody else has already said it and she's said it back?
I mean, like, they're right. Zachary, are they not right?
I mean, at this point, like, there's only so much time left. So if you do not speak up, and like this can go in other life situations too, if you speak up too late, you're going to miss your opportunity or your chance. If Greg says he's falling in love with Katie first, that might spark something in her where she's like, Greg is more into me and Greg is all in, Blake is still hesitant. So speak up, say how you feel. Otherwise, you're going to end up heartbroken in this.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan, this has been one of the things we've been kind of worried about with Blake, because they have been subtly teasing it. The question is he ready to say these things? Like, do you think we're going to see him wrestling with how he feels about her, or wrestling with like the courage to share how he feels about her? Where do you think he is? Where's his head?
Yeah, I don't know. And I think that's the difference. I think a mom would be able to tell if her son was truly in love with somebody. So that's why I'm trusting, if this is his mother, we're all assuming what she's saying, if you love her. Yeah, I don't know. It could be an aunt. You never know.
True.
So that's like the difference, because I wouldn't want somebody to pressure me into saying I love you just so that I wasn't behind the curve. Where it's like, if you're not 100% there yet, and like, oh, I just need to say I love you because he said it, that's the wrong reasons. And I don't like that, because that's essentially lying to Katie, and I wouldn't want Blake to do that. So I think he's got to do some soul searching. I think the environment could also mess with your head a little bit. It's like, am I in love with her? I've only known her for 4 weeks. Like, how am I supposed to know? But I don't know. I think Blake does have strong feelings for her, and I think that he will get there before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I'm with you because I agree. Like, I wouldn't want to hear that somebody loves me just because they're nervous about being sent home. But if he does love her and it's coming down to him being like too nervous to share it, then that could kick him out of the game. So it'll be really interesting to see what the heck happens with Blake this week. Getting back to Justin, whether it's his brothers, his buddies, his cousins, these guys are about to make a really great point, something that I think we've kind of been saying this whole live. Let's check out this clip with Justin.
We haven't told each other that we love each other. You know, there's still time.
Still time. There's 2 weeks.
Exactly.
There's no time.
Mean,
Where is the time,
Justin?
Justin?
It just feels like they get it. They seem to really have a good grasp.
It'll make it easier for Justin.
I don't want to hate on Justin.
No, we're not hating on him. It's just that it'll make it easier for him if he kind of mutually understands that, like, Greg and Blake are just way more ahead of a relationship with Katie than you are. It'll make your breakup easier. So I think he might come to grasp that, and then that could be a little bit of an easier goodbye. I mean, because Katie just went through some really rough goodbyes with Michael A. and Andrew S. And it's only getting harder. I can't even imagine what's going to happen at the final 2.
Morgan, do you think that there is a chance that after their hometown, they'll kind of mutually decide that he's too far behind and too out of time? I mean, we haven't even considered Justin sending himself home or Justin and Katie kind of mutually splitting. Could that be in the cards?
No, I definitely think that it could be. And wasn't there a rumor a couple weeks ago where they said 5 people like self-eliminated or something along that lines? Now, we haven't seen 5 people, but we've seen Andrew kind of turn down a request to come back, Michael A. self-eliminate, maybe Justin self-eliminates, and based on the clips of what we see of Katie and Greg both running around the hotel like maniacs, maybe Greg sends himself home? I don't know. We'll have to get into that once we look at the next clips.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at this clip because obviously I think it's going to come down to what on earth happens with Greg this week. So let's watch this clip of Greg.
I don't know what she's thinking, but something isn't right.
If you're not ready for this, I feel like you just need to say goodbye.
So
my
something isn't right, says Greg. And now we have this really intense Tayshia moment again, which was edited in, previews we dissected a little further back in a way that made it look like she really was talking to Blake there. But we know how creative they can be with their editing. So I don't know. I mean, Morgan, who do you think Tayshia's talking to here?
I either think she's talking to Katie about Justin or she's talking to Justin about Katie. And I think that's how that situation is going to play out.
I think that Justin is already gone. I think this is a final 2, like the proposal shot, and she's talking to one of the guys. Because, like, she has this really pretty yellow shirt on, which it just feels like a final rose ceremony type of outfit.
Maybe.
Wow. Okay. Interesting, you guys.
But don't they always wear black at the rose ceremonies?
No, but this is the final one where it's like the proposal. So it's not like a rose ceremony. It's like you walk to the
I guess. And it
where
is
you
a
like
different,
shake them.
Yeah, it's a different season
background.
too, because we've never seen a woman do that. It's always been Chris Harrison in his suit. So we really don't know how that would look.
Oh, it just feels like a final one. But can we keep going? I need to like see how this all ends out. I'm so intrigued.
Yes. All right. We've got this next clip. It also may involve Greg. Let's keep going.
Please, moment.
Are you serious?
You think you know, and then you don't.
I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Oh my
So
God.
they're leading us a little bit to make it look like maybe Greg's having a meltdown and Katie's chasing after him. I mean, I don't know, you guys. I kind of want to just go straight into this next clip so we can get like the full picture of this here and then dissect it. So we've seen this. We actually, I think, have seen both of those 2 clips before. Let's watch this next one. And then, I don't know, do our best to figure something out.
Who cares about the rose or who's getting sent home this week? If it's not real, it's not real.
I honestly don't know if she'll recover if he doesn't propose.
Oh my God.
So in the Greg of it all, what's new is that line where he says, you know, it's not real. It doesn't matter who's going home. Because we have seen him in that same outfit storming around that patio area, very upset. But Morgan, what do you make of that new little snippet they're giving us?
Yeah, I think this is just another snip of Greg's jealousy. You know, if it's not real, it's not real. How can she be making out with Blake and then saying that she is falling in love with me? Like, that can't be real. That's my shot in the dark guess, is that he's still probably upset about Blake in this moment.
What do you think?
Yeah, and
Zachary?
why haven't they used that pool all season? When he's like storming out into the pool area, like why haven't they had a pool party? Like that's what I don't understand. Maybe it's closed because of COVID, but if I was staying at that hotel, I would be at the pool every day. But Greg he's obviously having a meltdown, and we've seen calm, cool, and collected Greg all season long. So I'm really anticipating seeing what is triggering him, because we've never seen him upset.
Yeah, we really haven't. And you know what's interesting is at that Men Tell All, in those bloopers and deleted scenes, we saw a lot of Greg's personality that we hadn't seen. Like him being really, really silly, really funny, really goofy. Now we're seeing him here being really upset. So I do feel like we know Greg, but these next week or weeks might be very revealing to more sides of him that we just don't know. Obviously, Katie is going to be losing her mind this week, and honestly, I've been dreading watching her go through it since they've started teasing little snippets of this way early on. But now we have some more context, so let's watch these clips of Katie getting pretty upset.
I don't even know if I could do this. I'm so confused.
I'm losing you. I'm losing my mind here. I just don't know what to believe in anymore.
Why? Why doesn't she know, you guys?
We won't know until we watch. But it's like there's just so much going down.
There really is, and I want to flag this now. We've got to keep track of this blue shirt she's wearing, right? Because if anything gives us our best clues, it's people in different scenarios, you know, wearing those outfits. If we can see it pop up with different people, it might give us some more clues. So everyone out there, take note, please, of this blue shirt, because I don't know, it might give us some more info. What do we think she's talking about? I know we're not really going to know, and I know we're going to be speculating, but Zachary, why is she crying here? Why do you think?
She just went through a breakup. I mean, that's the only logical explanation. I don't know if it's with Justin, Greg, or Blake, but she just went through a breakup. Somebody just sent themselves home, or it was a mutual thing, but she's devastated that someone's gone, and she's going to have to figure it out. I hope she doesn't end up single.
That would suck.
That would be horrible. I mean, Morgan, do we think she could end up single? No, I don't want that.
No, I don't think so, because, I mean, I don't want to say worst case scenario, but Andrew Russ did say at the end of this, if she was single, to hit him up, so maybe she
Michael
ends
A.
up
said
back
that
with
too.
Andrew Russ. Yeah, one of the two of them.
All right, I guess, listen, worst case scenario, you're right. It'll come down to who they bring out on that stage and after the final rose, and maybe she shoots her shot. We got to keep going with these clips, though, because obviously she really does reach a breaking point where she, wants to send herself home, basically. She really seems like she's had enough. She's going to be wearing this blue shirt once again, I believe, in these next clips, so pay close attention.
I am done. I am done. I am done. This is...
Katie, it's Caitlin. Do you want to talk to me?
So we've talked about this before. We see Greg storming through an area.
It's the same time of day.
Yeah, same time of day. Is this whole meltdown Greg related? Morgan, are you starting to think that's it? Or are they just leading us there with these tricky clips?
No, I think that that's it. Like I said earlier, that's my prediction, is that Greg is actually going to end up breaking Katie's heart. Now, I don't know what that really looks like, but the two of them running around the hotel, like Zach said, at the same time of day, I just feel like the writing is written on the wall, and they haven't really edited it this season in a way that has really tricked any of us. I mean, we all knew Michael A was going to self-eliminate since like the second episode. I will say the only surprising thing I think has been that Andrew S wasn't in the final four. I don't think any of us saw that coming, but I feel like this has Greg written all over it.
But maybe they're playing hide and seek. And they're running around the hotel trying to find each other, and they're getting so frustrated. Yeah, honestly though, I just wanted Katie to like flip a table in this scene. Like she seems so angry, so like throw one of those tables. They're bothering me.
Oh my goodness. All right, we've got more clips. If you can believe it, we've got 2 more, you guys. So let's go to the next one. See if we got anything from that. Let's keep going.
I just feel like I went through this whole time telling myself it'll be worth it. And all of a sudden it's like blowing up in my face.
Oh no. Okay, Katie.
Yeah, I mean,
Katie put on her Instagram story this morning that she is moving to San Diego and she's starting to look for places. And I really hope she's not single, but we've seen it before in recent seasons. You know, Hannah Brown kind of left the show single. She didn't end up with Jed for more than like, I don't know how long. It's kind of happened to Matt James. I mean, now he's back with Rachel, but like, it's very possible she's going to end up single. I mean, she says it's blowing up in her face. Somebody might have just left that she was really into, possibly Greg, what we're depicting. And maybe she doesn't want to pick someone who's just there because they're there. So I think it might be possible she's single.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan, to me, it feels like she's losing control, right? Like she has been the driving force. She has got to make all of the decisions. And it feels like this week that control's kind of slipping away. And that's not what you want, right? When you're this far along, when your decisions have led to this group of men being here, like you don't want any curveballs. I feel like that's the most heartbreaking thing to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, at the beginning of her season, when she was doing a lot of press tours, she did say that she fell for more than one person. So I don't know if that necessarily means that, you know, to me, what that says is that there were multiple ways that this could play out. But even on the Men Tell All, she said that she believes that everything happens for a reason. So let's just say hypothetically that she fell for both Greg and Blake. Greg sends himself home, so she thinks, okay, this all happened for a reason. This means that Blake is my guy, and they end up happily engaged. I mean, it's very possible that that could happen because she did say that she fell for multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we love the optimism.
That is a really great point. Yeah, I do too. Let's get into this next clip because I love the optimism, but it is a tough clip to watch. So let's watch this next one too.
Morgan's trying.
I am.
So what do you want to happen?
I want someone to book my flight home.
Well, she ain't gonna book her own flight, so they better pay for her flight home.
See, Morgan, I love that optimism, but why? I mean, Zachary, give it your best shot. Why? Why does she want to go home? What gets her to this
Because
place?
I mean, listen, I think Greg and her broke up, and I think that she was planning on picking Greg. And, I mean, unless Blake broke up with... I mean, we don't know, because Blake isn't really in this preview that much. Like, other than that part, this is definitely after the fight with what we're assuming is Greg. I mean, how could we not assume that? And I think that she's really upset that the guy that she was most in love with just left. But I don't know.
And
that's what I think.
Okay, so then with that, if we're going to go with that, because I agree with you, Morgan, maybe your optimism is right. Maybe she's having this really difficult moment with Greg, but she did fall for both of them, and there is that happy ending because she ultimately ends up with Blake and everything happens for a reason. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to fill in the blanks for you. Do you agree? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we haven't heard every lead say, I want someone to book my flight home, but we do have like a bit of a meltdown for every lead, right? Where something doesn't necessarily go the way that they anticipated it to go, but that doesn't mean that they leave. Have we? I don't think we've ever had a lead just straight up go home before like their season actually played. Well, yeah, besides Claire, but she was happily in love. I mean, like single, like just called it quits, didn't end up with anybody. So I feel like in the moment, of course, you're going to be crushed. You're going to be heartbroken. You're going to be Rachel Lindsay crying your fake eyelashes off. But then you wake up the next morning with a bit of a clearer head. Okay, this is what happened. I still have a connection with this person. I still see a future with this person. Why don't I give it my best shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
Listen,
say
there are
that
a lot of ways this could play out that are positive, and I hope you're right about that, Morgan. Sorry, Zach, what are you saying?
I will say that way back in the day, Brad Womack, when he was the Bachelor, he broke up with both of the girls at the end, and he literally left the show single. Like, he had to break up with 2 girls, and he had no one. So
He was like, no,
I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, it has happened before, never for a Bachelorette. The Bachelorettes usually have a great track record with, like, ending up with someone. It's usually the Bachelors that don't. But, I mean, Monday cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, listen, we really won't know until we know. I don't even want to consider that she could do what Brad does, Zachary, because I really want her to be happy. They gave her some great guys. It would be such a shame if it ends up with them all eliminating or her going home or, oh my goodness, we don't even want to consider the possibilities. You guys, we want to know your predictions for Hometown. Obviously, this is a very pivotal week. We see some potential danger for Greg. We have a lot on the line with Blake. Maybe Justin gets a Hail Mary. I mean, we want to know what you think is going to happen. So send it to us in the chat right now. And you guys, we are going to get to, in just a couple of seconds, your questions, your comments in general. So if you haven't sent over your question to us yet, please do. We love hearing from you. This is actually my favorite part of the whole live, because sometimes you guys have predictions or opinions, or you notice little details that we don't even pick up on. So make sure if you've got some thoughts, you send them our way. And just a quick little friendly reminder that if you are not already subscribed, make sure you do. Make sure you ring the notification bell, because not only will we be back with more lives, we of course are continuously covering Katie's season 24/7 as it all goes down. I'm like really excited for this coming episode, you guys, but I'm also just really excited for all of the things to come in Bachelor Nation, between Paradise, Michelle's season, Katie's finale. There's lots of good stuff in the air. All right, let's kick things off with this from Kay. She says, Tyler is not the best person to get advice from. Seeing him with Gigi after Hannah's overnight made me kind of upset for Hannah. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think a lot of us were really thrown for a loop when that happened, but I do appreciate that in his book, he is owning up to the fact that he knows that it didn't, necessarily put Hannah in a great place. His actions at that time, picture's worth 1,000 words. It led to a lot of rumors, and he does feel sorry about that, which I think I appreciate. I think it was nice that he took the time to at least own up to his part and maybe putting her through a tricky time. Do you guys agree? What are your thoughts, Morgan?
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, right? Where we thought things were going one way with somebody. And even though you have the conversation where you're like, oh yeah, we'll still be casual, in your head, you're like, no, this is it. This is endgame. And then you find out, oh no, they're actually seeing other people. It just hurts your heart so deeply. And I think especially because Hannah had such a deep connection with Tyler, that seeing him with Gigi 3 days later, it's just such a knife to the heart. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. They're both in better places now. They're both in relationships that I think were meant for them. So, everything happens for a reason. There's the Morgan optimism for you guys.
No, you guys are forgetting. You're forgetting that Hannah broke up with Tyler on the show. Tyler doesn't owe Hannah anything. And Gigi Hadid, oh my God, that was a hot couple. But Nats Jassam says, Miss Chris, the show is not the same without him. The show is not the same without him. And it seems like they made a lot of changes behind the scenes as well. This season feels so different than any other season. I think just the social media activity feels really different too, with Katie being the lead. Because we've just never seen a lead actually interact with so many people on Twitter, on Instagram, with everything. So the show feels so different without Chris, but I think that they needed to have some serious changes because it became such a toxic show last season, and there was just so much controversy around it. So I think the show got really fun and lighthearted again. Do you guys feel the same way? Don't you feel like this season was kind of a turning point, a more show moving forward?
Well, it needed to be, right? I mean, we talked about that for so long. If they didn't set a reset button after so many people were calling for it in so many ways, then it would really be kind of impossible to bounce back from, right? So I do think that you're right. The show is different without Chris, but hopefully the show is heading in the direction that overall it needs to go in, so that we don't find ourselves like, if we ever have another season like Matt James's with all of that playing out, it just made something that is supposed to be enjoyable really stressful and really dark. And those reasons that they need to make those big changes behind the scenes are super, super valid, right? So from Chris to the stuff behind the scenes, I think we hopefully end up, you know, finding that balance again and getting it right, and only positive things come out about the franchise from now on. I don't know, Margaret, maybe I'm taking your optimism.
Yeah, no,
Oh my
I just
God.
think it feels like a breath of fresh air, you know? Like, we needed something different. We need to spruce it up a bit, and that's what we're doing. So, Bachelor Nation POP says maybe Katie is talking about Greg surprising her weeks later with his upcoming fight between them. Greg was a front runner, and I think he leaves after the fight scenes. I mean, that is a very good point too. And that's kind of the point that I was trying to make, that people can surprise you for different reasons, whether it be good or bad. Maybe Katie didn't think that Greg was going to be as jealous as these teasers are making him out to be. I didn't even think about that. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
I mean, of course, I just can't wait for this fight. Like, we're going to have to talk about it next week or the week after, but I just cannot wait for this fight because there's so much speculation about it, and I'm really enjoying hearing everyone's takes, but I just feel like it's going to go down as one of the biggest fights in Bachelor history, or just one of the biggest blow-ups, because Greg has had this clean track record all season. So, time will tell. I just can't wait for this show to end, honestly. Like, I'm just so excited for Paradise. Lily says, I think there's a big possibility she goes home single. Unfortunately, I'm starting to think the same thing, just because she is saying how she's moving to San Diego and Blake is still in Canada. Greg, seems like they're going to break up because of this dramatic teaser. And then Justin has just kind of become the new Brendan. Or the new Kyle. So I think that there is a possibility. I do not want that for her at all. I really hope she ends up happy and engaged, but it is possible.
Yeah, unfortunately, it feels like it is. I do think that once we know what Greg is so upset about, right, that might put a lot of things into an easier, like, prediction perspective, right? Because what this fight is about is seemingly going to be the thing that puts her in a position that she says, book my flight home. And to go from booking her flight home to thrilled with an engagement, right? And finding her person and walking off into the sunset with them. Like, I don't know. That timeline feels tight. So to me, it's like, okay, is this fight blown out of proportion? Is it a lot of drama that's maybe misunderstood? Can we bring it all the way back down? Does it go from really, really heavy to really, really light quickly? Okay, then sure, maybe she ends up super happy and in love. But if it's really heavy stuff that gets her to the place of literally wanting to end it all, I don't know. It's making me skeptical. It's hard. It's just really hard.
Yeah, and I just had a realization really, really quick before I read this next one. Okay, so she wrapped season a week early. Now we know that Michael went home a week early, but could it be that because the final two, there is no last rose ceremony, so why do we need to stick around another week? Maybe she does go home. Maybe someone booked her flight home, and that's how it ends. That would be crazy.
They said that the finale's August 9th, so there is going to be 2 more weeks of the show.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but like the production,
could they draw it out?
Yeah, they definitely could. Maybe, yeah. So this next one from Kelsey says, does anyone actually think Justin will win? No, I just don't see the connection. Yeah, none of us see the connection there, I don't think.
No one thinks that, Kelsey. Do you think that? Does anyone else think that? Let us know in the comments, because that will be the biggest plot twist in Bachelorette history. Yeah, nobody thinks that, Kelsey. You're on to something.
That would be a bigger plot twist than Katie booking a flight home, I think. Her ending up with Justin.
Jessica says, will Victoria Larson find love in Bachelor in Paradise? I don't think she's gonna find love, and I love her, and we've known that, but I do not foresee that for her in Paradise. But maybe.
She doesn't have a clean enough slate.
But it's not even
They
that.
brought her
It's
too
not even
soon.
that. It's not that. It's that there was no shots of her in the teaser kissing anyone. There's been no rumors online about the internet. We all read the semi-spoilers. So I think that's kind of why there's no shots of her kissing anyone. It's really just the crown.
I think that if she was really going to have a fair shot at finding love in paradise, it would be about 3 seasons from right now, because she's going to be back on that beach with girls who already have their mind made up about her, guys who probably tuned into that season. Maybe she'll get someone like a Carl or someone else who is there for redemption. But I don't know, 3, 4 seasons from now, if she came back to that beach and was like, I am a brand new person, none of you know me, I have grown up, I have matured, maybe she would find some love. But again, we're looking into a crystal ball here. Terrence says, I think people underestimate how bad what Carl did was. He used fear and insecurities to manipulate someone to try to get the result he wants. That's a huge red flag as a boyfriend or a friend. Oh, Terrence, I am with you. I have nothing to say about Carl other than I did not get good vibes from what he did. I thought it was a major red flag myself. I thought it was weird. I thought he had no defense on the men tell all, literally none. And I don't think he's going to last on that beach very long, or I certainly hope he doesn't. I don't know. I do not have good vibes for Carl. I don't know if you guys feel as passionately, but it's not working for me.
I have a hot take, actually. I feel differently. Because, okay, listen, I remember when, and I know that they're different scenarios, but when all the drama was going down on Matt James season, what did Katie do? She went to Matt James. She said, there are some girls in the house that are creating this very toxic environment for everybody. It's a mob mentality. There are a few chosen. But what did she not do? She did not say one single name of who it was. And I know that it's different. You know, they're not here for the right reasons. But would you expect that somebody like Queen Victoria was actually there to get married to Matt James? I feel like it could be implied when you say, you know, they're bullying people, this is XYZ, whatever, that they're not marriage material, right? That's kind of where that conversation is headed. Carl essentially did the same thing, and he did end up being right. There were people there that were there for the wrong reasons. Thomas came out and said it verbally to everyone, so maybe he said it to Carl in a private situation. Do I think he handled it incorrectly? Yes. But like Katie said on the Men Tell All, at the end of the day, Carl was right.
I don't know. I'm following you, and you swayed me maybe just a little. Maybe I'll give him a few inches, but I think there was a lot of manipulation behind what he did, and I think that is the difference. So I don't know. You swayed me a little, Morgan. I'll give you that.
Oh my God. Kelsey is saying Victoria and Carl would make a hellish couple. I mean, just because they both want redemption doesn't mean that I would ship them. I honestly do not ship these two at all. I don't even know who I would ship Victoria with or Carl with, but maybe I would ship Carl with Tajwan, because, you know, no one really knows her, and I just feel like I don't know who else. But
I don't know.
No, Tammy has her sights set on Aaron. Katie actually made that clear in like an interview the other day after the tell-all. So we will see. I don't ship Carl with anyone. I think that Carl isn't going to last long either, but what Carl has in his favor is that he will have roses the first week. The guys will have roses because there's less of them on the beach, so Carl will have like a week or two to kind of make some connections. So he does have that in his favor. It's harder for the girls when there's more of them in the beginning. They have less time. Like, at least the guys know they're safe the first week.
Yeah, it's a great point, Zachary. Carl is going to have at least a fighting chance. He probably has a leg up on someone like Victoria, who we also are nervous about. So that is something to pay attention to. Wow, I like am so excited for Paradise, because while I like don't ship Victoria and Carl, I'm getting really excited at the prospect of all of these characters like crossing over, being thrown on the beach together, seeing how seasons mesh. Paradise is always such a good time. All right, we could ramble on and on and on about how thrilled we are for Paradise, but you guys, we have reached the end of our live. We are done taking questions and comments, but if we didn't get to yours, have no fear. Just leave it down for us in the regular comments. We're going to be back talking all things Bachelor Nation very, very soon. So if we didn't get to you now, we will get to you in the next live. Thank you so, so much for tuning in for our live Bachelor news recap. If you are not subscribed to our channel, make sure you do. Make sure you ring the bell because, as I have said many times throughout the show, we will continue to keep you updated on Bachelor Nation. You don't want to miss a minute of it. As always, I am your host, Fiona Zaring, joined by the wonderful Morgan Wright and Zachary Reality. If you guys want to come say hi and keep the Bachelor conversation going, check out our socials. They are on the screen right now. Thank you all so much for tuning in live with us, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.